Welcome to Here's How We Get There. It's the daily show filled with conversations about business and mental health in a down-to-earth style with real-world language. Now let's dive in with your co-hosts, Kenneth Shark Kinney and Trey Tucker.
All right, Trey, baseball season is on us again, but one of the things that a lot of people are looking at is the condition of the athletes and what a lot of the pitchers are doing to their arms. Talk about that.
So I saw a stat recently where something like 9 out of the 10 pitchers who throw the hardest in the major leagues have had season-ending injuries over the past year. And it's more than just those guys, but it speaks to this trend of guys that are just trying to get as much velocity as possible and as much spin rate as possible. And even on their off-speed pitches, there is a demand for just absolutely maxing out your effort every single pitch. And it works. It's effective because these hitters are so talented and so well trained that if you make any kind of mistake and you slow it down even a slight bit, they're going to take advantage of it and send it to the moon. However, while it's effective on the mound in the moment, it's cutting short careers. So some people have tried to attribute this rash of injuries, to the fact that they've shortened the time in between the pitches. That's actually not the case. It's not what's causing these injuries. It's the fact that the human arm can't withstand the amount of torque and effort that's being put on the thing, really maxing it out every time. So others have talked about alternative approaches to pitching other than just trying to just get it as high as a velocity as possible. You think of people like Greg Maddux over the last 20 years. He wasn't the only one, but this idea of changing pitches and relying on not so much of a velocity of movement, but a motion, a larger movement from top to bottom on a curveball or a sweeper on a slider, things like that. But proponents of this way of just throwing it as hard as possible have said, yeah, we've tried all that. We've tried to purposely slow down the velocity in order to save an arm, but these hitters take advantage of it. So we have no other choice but to throw out our arms and then go have Tommy John surgery. And frankly, I think Tommy John surgery has been so successful and if made so efficient over the years. I think it's something like 90% effective. So you really can come back from it. But what happens when this starts trickling down into high school? Because it's already trickled down into college. Is a high schooler, a 16, 17-year-old, really going to be able to come back just like a grown man would from Tommy John? I don't know. But the money is so big for these pitchers, whether it's NIL in college or the professional contracts, that high schoolers, I see them and talk to them on a regular basis. They feel the pressure to start throwing as hard as they can at a very young age, 13, 14 years old. So the domino effect of this is crazy. And I think the only thing that's going to ultimately change is when these big league clubs start to lose money because their big name pitchers have become injured and they've lost their investment in them with the contracts. And also they lose the TV and maybe gate revenues from not having them on the mound, because often these big name pitchers are the big face of the franchise. So while they're still winning because of these pitchers, I don't think anything will change. But if enough big league clubs start to lose money, I think it'll force some sort of alternative method, because like anything, the pendulum swings from one extreme to the other, whether it's in baseball and any other part of life. But I'm hoping that I just hope that it doesn't take a whole lot more injuries before that happens.
Yeah, and baseball is about, in some ways, it's almost like horse racing. There's only so much you can do to the human body, or in this case, horses. But unlike football, you can make a lot of technology changes that the body won't necessarily need to catch up to. Baseball, there's nowhere else to go. Basically, it's a human arm throwing it a certain way, and it can only perform a smidge much better. I mean, at some point, though, they're going to have to come up with more efficient gimmicks than just speeding up the game and things like that. I don't know if that's going to end up being their being silly, but a wiffle ball or a giant bat. But it's going to be something that they're going to have to do to at least make this catch up, because otherwise you're just going to go through too many pitchers, and all of your money is going to be spent on pitchers who at best will pitch 3 innings, because that's all they can really handle until they burn themselves out. And then you're having to get a new one every year, 2 years, 3 years. It's shortening and shortening and shortening. It's not getting at a longer or more stable place that they can adjust to. And it's one of the things that I don't think that they've addressed yet in the sport that's resistant to change. But I think this is one where the capabilities of the batters have exceeded the capabilities of the pitchers for the most part. And you can't push the pitcher to do much more with their body because it's kind of a given to get a Tommy John surgery. Like it's a badge of honor anymore, not something that you do. Like you might as well go ahead and get one now, do a preemptive, you know, before.
Yeah.
But I think baseball is going to have to figure this out as well soon.
Thank you for joining Shark and Trey on the Here's How We Get There show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit here'showwegetthere.com. That's here'showwegetthere.com.